Yeah, if anyone is still here, you may ask your questions and I will go through them. If as we talk about the Twitter terms of service, all right. So I'm gonna title this Twitter TOS. We're technically going to be talking a bit about everything, depending on what we learn, I guess. So we'll go through the terms of service around now, right? Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Ooh, my guy is streaming. As you can see, I'm looking at Twitter and I got distracted by Twitter. It shouldn't be happening. Anyhow, we're doing a live seminar. We'll do this, all right? And we'll probably, after a little bit break, we'll take on lunch and take on questions or just chill, really. I'll talk about anything. For now, let's try to get through this document, which I think is not huge. There's probably linking a lot to other stuff, but we're just going to be looking through the main document, which should apply to everyone. Yeah, I would say the links they have, this isn't relevant to us. This is using the yeah. There's also the community guidelines which we have to read through. And that's how this is drafted. So they have this huge banner telling you this is terms of service. Of course, this is not the original font. This is a dyslexia font that I am using for my browsers, so that for anyone who are dyslexic, they will be able to read together with me. And I'm starting to find this to be quite comfortable to read as well myself. So if you are wondering how to do it, I have a Twitter post about it and talking about how to set this up on your own browser. In any case, we'll start with this. All right, we'll be talking about what is this all about. Terms of service. As always, to preface, this document is literally applicable without even reading through the terms or conditions. This legal document is applicable to everyone who uses Twitter, whether it's through the app, whether through browser, or through any means that you're using Twitter, and for any purposes. When you're tweeting something, when you're just following people, or just using it as a social communication platform, that's what you like. That's what you like. You're doing it for business, doing it for any content creation, doing just for like a social gathering, a social feed, or just sharing your life and all that stuff, that is applicable to you. As long as you're using the terms of service, as long as you're using Twitter for something, this applies to you all, right? And question about whether you are bound by this Twitter terms and conditions. I would say very much likely to be bound by this, since Twitter, I'm pretty sure Twitter makes sure you at least Twitter as a big platform as this, they probably do tell you to look at the terms of service before registering or before using the Twitter platform. So yeah, there's no escaping that. I've talked about this last week, where you might not be bound by legal documents found online. Just because they exist doesn't mean that you are bound by it. The person who drafted it, the person who provides this document, has to make very, very direct, intentional ways to make sure you are agreeing to these terms and conditions before they let you use it, right? So, for example, when you're registering or when you're maybe linking your account or anything like that, they will probably tell you that you're going to be using our service. Please just make sure you agree to our terms. Not make sure you agree, or make sure you have read through our terms, because you will be bound by it. By clicking on a checkbox, or by doing something that signifies that you have agreed to the terms and conditions of the TOS and every other legal documents they have. So there's that. You can't really avoid saying I haven't read it, and so it's not bound by me, or they have not presented it, or so that it's not bound to me. But none of those cases is a possible excuse for you to use. Anyways, anyhow, so let's say right on the first sentence, they are talking about what legal documents you should be reading. If you live outside the European Union, EFTA states, or the United Kingdom, including if you live in the United States, the Twitter user agreement comprises these terms of service or privacy notice, the Twitter's rules and policies, and all incorporated policies. So first part, they're talking what legal documents is applicable to who. This is very good. That's very good. But let me see. Terms of privacy, are they different from this one? Terms of service and this there. What's this? Are they the same? Oh, they are just like they are the same. If you leave the Twitter agreement comprises this, just jumps you to this part. Twitter terms of service. Ah, yeah, literally just brings me back here. Then this one brings me to a different document. No way, but still. In terms of if you live, so there's a. Oh, okay. And actually, this isn't that big then. 6. Then we have this one, who is for if you live in European EFTA states or the United. What is EFTA states? EFTA states are Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. Oh, okay. They have. What is the difference between EFTA and EU membership? One of the main differences between EFTA and EU membership is that EFTA members are not part of the EU customs union. As EFTA states are not part of the EU customs unions, they negotiate trade deals separately to the EU. All right. Okay, so this is more of a economical differences. Economic different groups, if different countries diplomatic state, diplomatic circumstance, diplomatic relations. Anyhow, our concern is reading the entire thing. So if it's the same thing, well, just like point that out, it's the same. If it's not, it's not. But yeah, so apparently we all have the same. Other than that, I think yeah, the privacy policy as well as the Twitter rules and policy are the same for both situations. So the only differences that this terms of service seems to be having is just this document. Yeah, terms of service. But anyways, all right, enough about that. Twitter terms of service. If you live outside the European Union, EFTA states, or the United Kingdom, including if you live in the United States, these terms of service govern your access to and use of our services, including our various websites, SMS, APIs, email notifications, applications, buttons, widgets, ads, commerce services, and other covered services. Yeah, so all those things, they are considered services. And any information, text, links, graphics, photos, audio, video, or other materials or arrangements of materials uploaded, downloaded, or appearing on the services collectively referred to as content. By using services, you agree to be bound by these terms. Again, of course, it's not just about using services that you will be automatically bound by these services. The action of using a service doesn't necessarily bound you to the terms and conditions. You have to do a bunch of things, of course. But of course, that is one of the main components, right? One of the main components in determining whether you are bound to a legal document. But first of all, we can't go to step 3 or 4 without going to step 1 and 2, which is to agree to the terms and conditions, right? Anyhow, let's agree to the terms and conditions and being presented for it. Not in that order. Sorry. More to it. You must be presented with the terms and conditions, then afterwards have the obvious or apparent choice to agree to them before using it. Now, what are the 6 clauses that they have made, which I think is kind of weird that they drafted this in this way, in big 6 clause. Not really big in any case. It's actually quite small. Quite little, actually. Right, who may use these services? You may. Oh, some fonts are not changed apparently. Only these big ones are changed. Okay then. You may use the services only if you agree to form a binding contract with Twitter and are not a person barred from receiving services under the laws of the applicable jurisdiction. If you agree to form a binding contract with Twitter and are a person barred from receiving services under the laws of the applicable jurisdiction. In any case, you must be at least 13 years old, or in the case of Periscope. What is Periscope? What is Periscope? Periscope is an iOS and Android app that lets you share an experience. Okay, Periscope is something. Periscope is an app, I guess, by Twitter. What is yeah, I guess Periscope is some sort of a app by Twitter. Anyhow, apparently if you use Periscope, it's 16 years old to use the service. If you are accepting these terms and using the services on behalf of a company, organization, government, or other legal entity, you represent and warrant that you are authorized to do so and have the authority to bind such entity to these terms, in which case the words you in your as you use in these terms shall refer to such entity. So first part, this is they're telling people, they're telling everyone who should be reading these terms and services, which is literally everyone. Anyone that uses the service, like how I said, anyone that uses this service who are 13 years, at least 13 years of age. I think this might be the standard. As I go through more and more online legal documents, this might be the standard of that people, or at least in big huge platforms, social platforms like this, they're probably gonna tell people that this is the age. All right, which is kind of, I'm really curious. I'm really curious. What's the rules and policy for terms for Twitter? Because you know, we are all very well aware that you can literally post anything on Twitter, and quite literally, I'm not even sure what is not allowed other than those extreme cases, right? There's a lot of adult content on Twitter, but apparently if they are allowing 13 years olds to use Twitter, it must mean that it should be somewhat family friendly in any case, but it's not. It's not. So I'm quite curious. The next time, probably only the next session, we'll be talking about the Twitter's rules and policy, which is the juicy one. But for me, whenever I go through legal documents, we always go through the terms of service first, because that is always the first document we should read, because that's the first document that would tell us what is legally binding on us. If there is no such document and we immediately jump to rules and policy, it will be quite confusing for us. In any case, this is it. That's something I want to really look into next time. Yeah, and of course, not just 13 years old. It also mentions any company, organization, government, or legal entity. So anyone, literally anyone, can use it, but they make sure to say that whoever is representing them in using Twitter as a method to share their information, spread their information, knowledge, or skills, or such, or advertisement, promotion, or anything. It is representative of the entire company. So if, let's say, a company says something, it is on behalf of the entire company, regardless whether or not the company wants to limit their liability. As long as it's official, right? Whatever the company does is going to be, whatever the employee does for the company is going to be representative of whatever the entire company does. So yeah, if for example, the US government, very hot on is, I think they have a White House account or something like that. I'm not sure what they represent as, but at least I think they represent the president's the presidential department, at least, or something like that, of the U.S. government. But yeah, wherever they tweet, is quite literally representative of what the presidential office is would intend to say, or anything like that. And has been hot hot as in at least the articles I've seen here and there, where they keep on posting government officials in a way public records, which is not favorable to them. Quite interesting. So yeah, in any case, those are that. This is what we are. This term just says who is able to use it and who is bound by this, who are bound by these terms and conditions. Next, we have privacy policy. This thing, I don't really need to talk about it. Something that we all know, and there's some sort of a gray area to it, is yes, probably inside they have told you what they will use your information for, what they will, by law, they only use this for such and such and won't use it for anything else, maybe such as a commercial stuff or things like that. Maybe they will use it for commercial purposes, but with limitations, right? Can't divulge to personal data like your address, your name, or anything like that, a password or something, to anyone. All right. But again, there's a controversy behind it, where they may or may not be doing what they should be doing with our personal data, and using it for profit. But that is something that I can't say for certain. I can't say for a fact. There's something that you have to do your own research. I do not really have a time to do that. I don't think that's necessary, in the sense that if we have to use it, if we have to use these services, it is inevitable that some personal data will be used to some extent, and unless it is it's not a reputable platform, I would say don't. Then yes, you probably have to be wary about those websites that take your personal data for maybe some nefarious use, right? Which you have always often heard, whether it's this platform or whether it's some other platform. So yeah, that is up to your discretion to think about this privacy stuff. Right. Anyway, I'll read through it. Describe how we handle the information you provide to us when you use our services. You understand that through your use of services, you consent to the collection and use as set forth in the privacy policy of this information, including transfer of this information to the United States, Ireland, and all other countries for storage, processing, and use by Twitter and its affiliates. So, although they didn't really talk about which, they are just telling us who is bound by this terms of service. We haven't really get into who is Twitter, which company owns Twitter, all that stuff. We do not know, but they probably should have it. I think I just glanced a bit at the bottom where they talk about where this terms and conditions applicable and who is Twitter as a company, as an official company. But yeah, they are telling you that they will store your information in various places, United States, Ireland, and other countries. And they will tell you what they are going to be using them for, which is going to be a big chunk, right? All this stuff they really are emphasizing on their privacy policy here. It's much longer and much more differently styled in a sense. But yeah, probably because this platform deals a lot with information as well as misinformation as such. So yeah, so many things involving Twitter right now. There's also legal suits involving Twitter against Elon Musk. I'm not sure if this has been settled yet. I know I've watched a few videos on it, and it's a show. It's literally a show. I'll tell you that. But any case, let's move on. Content on the services. You are responsible for your use of the services and for any content you provide, including compliance with applicable laws, rules, and regulations. You should only provide content that you are comfortable sharing with others. Okay. You should only provide content that you are comfortable sharing with others. So, yeah. They're telling you whatever you post is your responsibility. Any use or reliance on any content or materials posted via the services obtained by you through the services at your own risk. We do not endorse, support, represent, or guarantee completeness, truthfulness, accuracy, or reliability of any content or communications posted via the services, or endorse any opinions expressed via the services. Yeah, they really have to talk about this because they are, as a platform, they, I guess, as a neutral platform, is what they are trying to represent themselves. They have to say this, I guess. They have to say this, so I don't think Twitter has made any official stance on certain subjects, other than anything that's contained in their rules and policy, probably things like on discrimination and stuff. So yeah, they would not. I have not seen them specifically supporting any sort of statements made by anyone on Twitter other than themselves, right? Other than themselves. So yeah, you understand that by using the services, you may be exposed to content that might be offensive, harmful, inaccurate, or otherwise inappropriate. In some cases, postings that have been mislabeled or otherwise deceptive. All content is the sole responsibility of the person who originated such content. We may not monitor or control the content posted via the services, and we cannot take responsibility for such content. Yes, unfortunately, that is the case. Since I always said, the internet is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good, like spreading positivity and facts, human discoveries, human advancements, medical stuff, and general good, general benefit to the public. But of course, the other side is also the same, and I would say much easier to spread, which is to spread misinformation, spread hate, spread harassment, spread all those bad things to other people. Much easier than spreading good, which is unfortunate. But yes, them saying that they are not responsible for any of that is quite fair, because they can't be responsible for every single tweet that happens, and that is why they put that part of that responsibility back to us, the users, with the reports, which again I've said that seems to be useful. Seems that they are quite. They put our resources on enforcing the rules and policies, at least, right? When we do report it, yeah, because they have their own principles, I guess. Twitter has their own principles. There are things that they have to do by law, I would say. By law, there are things that they have to do, such as I think discrimination laws would affect a company being letting them do anything that would be harmful to them, or that would be illegal for them to do, like even, let's say, because the thing about law is that even though you might have a stance, even though you have this sentence saying that you are not supporting any type of view, any type of anything, whether it's good or bad or true or false, that's what you say, right? People will always find faults, try to bore through whatever statement you have. This will not stop people from suing Twitter for things, maybe small or big, and for them to remain neutral, for them to remain as a platform where it could be seen to be used for everyone. The rules are enforced equally. Rules supposed to be enforced equally. I hope so, as opposed to what Twitch is like, which is very biased. But so far, the famous cases that Twitter has been has shown us has happened. For example, Kanye West being banned. I'm not sure people know about it. Or anti-Semitic statements made on Twitter. I'm not sure if Kanye West has gotten back his account. Probably not, because he has, from the news I've seen, is that he is still not sorry for whatever he said. And I don't blame that guy, not because he's right, but because he's not of sound mind. From what I can tell from his past history, the guy needs help. The guy needs help, right? And I'm not sure how or when, but I just hope so. I just hope that guy gets the help he needs. But anyhow, so yeah, at least on that side, it seems, other than Kanye West, Trump is a prime example as well, and some other people. But then again, there are still a lot of people spreading misinformation, and I don't know. It's misinformation is the one thing that is impossible to almost. I would say, yeah, quite rather impossible to enforce. To try and cull, as opposed to those things like saying hateful stuff, discriminatory stuff, and harassment, all that stuff is much easier to spot compared to misinformation, right? Misinformation in the sense that it is just misinformation. It is not tied to any sort of intention or harm that would cause to a certain group of people as such. So yeah. Anyhow, let's move on. That conversation is a bit more towards rules and policy. Then, yeah, we have here the last sentence. Last two sentences. All content is the sole responsibility of the person who originates such content. We may not monitor or control the content posted via the services, and we cannot take responsibility for such content. So they're telling us they do not monitor or control, may not monitor, meaning to say it is not always possible, or at least they have the discretion to disregard certain stuff, certain content put up on Twitter. Next, they say they reserve the right to remove content that violates the user agreement, including, for example, copyright or trademark violations or other intellectual property misappropriation, impersonation, unlawful conduct, or harassment. So they do tell you they have the power to remove content. Information regarding specific policies and the process of reporting or appealing violations can be found in our help centers. So yeah, these are the websites that you can report people. I guess it is under rules and policies. And because if you get banned, then this is about what happen. What can you do when you get banned or get suspended? Now, then we have here, if you believe that your content has been copied in a way that constitutes copyright infringement, please report this by visiting our copyright reporting form. Yep, this is the DMCA thing, which all you have seen here and there, talking about if there's such a copyright infringement, people will have to fill up forms to only then for Twitter to do any actions. This is of course by law, right? Then we have Twitter Incorporate. Okay, this is just they're telling you where you can send the forms to. Twitter Incorporated. Okay, Twitter is actually a company name itself. Attention to copyright agent. This is the address for the copyright agent, I guess, in San Francisco, California. Okay. Anyhow, next we have your rights and grant of rights in the content. You retain your rights to any content you submit, post, or display on through the services. Okay, they say that, right? What's yours is yours. Your own content, you own your content, and your incorporated audio, photos, and videos are considered part of your content. Okay, they are very, very adamant about that. And I have a feeling there's a big but behind this. By submitting, posting, or displaying content or through the services, you grant us a worldwide royalty-free license with the right to sub-license to use, copy, reproduce, process, adapt, modify, publish, transmit, display, and distribute such content in any and all media or distribution methods now known or later developed. For clarity, these rights include, for example, curating, transforming, and translating. So yeah, all right. This is already very, very biased in a sense. And I think people like, I was talking about this before this, a couple weeks ago, I think, almost a month ago already. I was talking about this other terms of service where people were like trying to bash it for how unfair it is for people to be giving their art to this supposedly a company that does AI services for people, AI program services for people, where they would use other people's arts to train their own AI programs to make it better. which I would say is much better than this term. At least over there, it tells you that they will only be specifically using it for training their AI. But over here, they do not have that purpose. They do not say any purpose. They only say that you give them royalty-free license for them to do anything with your content, right? They are not saying you transfer the rights to them, all right? They are not saying you transfer your copyrights to Twitter. They're only saying you're giving them a license. You're giving the authorization to use your content. You still own your content. You can still use it to sell it. You can still do everything you want to do. That's what Twitter has said over here. You use it, copy it, reproduce it, process it, adapt it, modify, publish, transmit, display, blah, 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 all of that stuff. They don't have to specify it, but they specify it. Good on them. All right. So yeah, you can still use them. That's at Twitter. By doing anything, you're posting anything on Twitter, you're allowing them to give it to other people, sell it to other people, maybe. Sell it to other people, use it, modify it, publish it, whatever. Use it for either non-commercial purposes or commercial purposes. This license authorizes us to make your content available to the rest of the world and to let others do the same. You agree that this license let us do the same. Yeah, so basically they're telling people, you're telling people that they can get your license as well, apparently. But this is a bit vague. What is let others do the same? Who are the others? That is something they didn't say quite clearly. Available to the rest of the world and to let others do the same. But what does this mean? Let others. You are also authorizing other people to make your content available to the rest of the world. What does available to the rest of the world mean, though? That's something I have no idea why. It's kind of vague, kind of vague. Could mean many things. You agree that this license includes the right for Twitter to provide, promote, and improve the services and to make content submitted to or through the services available to other companies. Organizations or individuals for their syndication, broadcast, distribution, retweet, promotion, or publication of such content on other media and services, subject to our terms and conditions for such content use. Such additional uses by Twitter, other companies, organizations, or individuals made with no compensation paid to you with respect to the content that you submit, post, transmit, or otherwise make available through the services as the use of the services by you is hereby agreed as being sufficient compensation for the content and grant of rights herein. Right, so over here, okay, that's saying these additional uses by Twitter, companies, organizations, or individuals, quite literally means everyone, is made with no compensation paid to you with respect to content you submit, post, transmit, or otherwise make available through the services that is by agreed as being sufficient compensation for the content and grant of rights. So yeah, they're telling you whatever people use your content, you're not going to get paid by using the services. If they're using your content, like reproducing your content through Twitter services, is considered sufficient payment, apparently. Right, over here, use of the services by you is hereby agreed as being sufficient compensation for the content and grants hereby used. So yeah, you using quite sadly how Yeah, quite fair, quite unfair, I would say. This is basically what they are saying: is you post your content on Twitter, it still belongs to you, but people can use it. People can use your content wherever they want, as long as it's still in Twitter. That's what they are saying, at least over here, right? But of course, for Twitter, there's much more power to them, more rights to them. They are over here, like over here. All this is just for Twitter's Twitter's company to use it for to provide, promote, and improve the services. Make it available to companies, organizations, or individuals for the syndication, broadcast, distribution, retweet, promotion. They are telling you all this is can be done with your tweet, with your content. Whatever art you post, whatever video you post, whatever audio you post, can be spread again, can be shared again on Twitter, which I guess makes sense. If you can't share and you can't, if you post anything and can't let people, if you do not let people to share it again, that's weird. On in the same platform, that's weird. It would defeat a lot of things that Twitter the services provide, like retweets, quoting tweets, and such, all that stuff. Now, in any case, yeah, I guess people don't like this, but then again, doesn't really say anything about using it outside. Like, I've not seen Twitter proclaim use art, sold art that people have posted up on Twitter, but I don't know. Is that a thing? Has Twitter been accused of such a thing? I've not heard of it. I've not heard of it at all. Twitter has an evolving set of rules or how ecosystem partners can interact with your content on the services. These rules exist to enable an open ecosystem with your rights in mind. Yeah, so they are trying to justify this by telling you that this is literally what Twitter does. Sharing your content to everyone else within the service. You understand that we will modify or adapt your content as it is distributed, syndicated, published, or broadcast by us and our partners, and or make changes to your content in order to adapt the content to different media. You represent and warrant that you have or have obtained all rights, licenses, consents, permissions, power, and all authority necessary to grant the rights granted herein for any content that you submit, post, or display or on through the services. You agree that such content will not contain material subject to copyright or other proprietary rights, unless you have necessary permission or otherwise legally entitled to post the material and to grant Twitter the license described above. This is a bit of a gray area here, because copyright stuff, I believe this is something that is very difficult to enforce, in the sense that it would be hypocritical to say that Twitter themselves have not violated any copyrights, because they do provide a service for people to post GIFs or GIFs, however you want to pronounce it. So that's the thing. You're providing a service where people are allowed to post clips that are turned into GIFs, clips that might be from a movie, from a cartoon, from an anime, from a video game, from anything. But it's allowed. So what happens if someone doesn't like you posting their movie clip on Twitter through the GIFs? Is that the responsibility of the individual or to Twitter? Because Twitter provided that service, provided the service to share GIFs right in the beginning. So yeah, a bit of a gray area. I'm not sure why Twitter is allowed to do that. I might have to look into that. But then again, Waltz, you like your packs, don't you? All right. I'll give Waltz a pack. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Also, I see that things are happening on Twitter. People are talking about the multi-stream again. I've been here. Oh.
Someone requested Malaysian accent.
Or you.
Activating in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ski Waltz played this card. Yes, like law.
Oh, 50 minutes. Oh, okay lah. You want me to speak like Malaysian? Speak like Malaysian for 50 minutes. But yeah, maybe you heard this before lah, like the multi-stream thing. If you have not seen me, how do you say? Talk about the affiliate agreement. But if you stream on Twitch, you cannot, as an affiliate, you cannot stream at other places at the same time. Right? Because that is in breach of affiliate agreement, and that's not good. If you breach affiliate agreement, then you will probably get banned or get suspended, get terminated, all the bad things, you know. Is it true? Very true. I'll let you see the terms again. But you tell me that means you didn't read affiliate agreement, or I really recommend you read. Really suggest you go and read the agreement. Okay, go read it over and over again before you know you do something very wrong. Then suddenly your account got cancelled because some guys very hate somehow don't like you very much and just want to make your life like hell. Just report you something that you did that you didn't realize you was wrong, you know. But I'll just a moment. I send you the pack. Okay, you got the pack now. I think you got the pack. Anyways, now as you can see, I'm gonna go to the affiliate agreement. You look at it, okay? Live content exclusivity. I talk about it, so that's why there are all highlight stuff right here. Solely for any live audio visual work you choose to provide to us as user content, starting from beginning of the initial broadcast of any such live Twitch content and continuing for a period of 24 hours following the end of initial broadcast of such live content. Exclusivity period. You will not nor permit or authorize any third party to broadcast, stream, distribute, exhibit, and otherwise make available such live Twitch content in any manner. Okay, so literally this means you can't upload, you can't stream anytime when you're streaming, and after you end stream, 24 hours you can't stream anything that was streamed when you were doing it until 24 hours have been finished. So if let's say you finish, like you do 6 hour stream, at the end of that 6 hour you cannot upload anything. You cannot upload your stream immediately or anything, at least for until 24 hours. I mean, you can upload lah, you can upload on YouTube, but don't put it on public, put it on private if you want. Okay, you want to do it early. So that's the thing, you know. Don't just simply stream everywhere like, oh, so you're so powerful or something. Like, oh, can stream on YouTube, can stream on Facebook. Oh no, that is very wrong. If you're affiliate and someone don't like you, you get report, you die, you sure die. Okay, you sure die. And don't, apparently still happening with a lot of streamers, right? Because they don't watch me. They don't watch me explain it. They just simply do their stream, have fun, then boom, they die. And after they learn how they die, too late already. They regret. Too late to regret also, you know. But yeah, any case, we're talking about Twitter, so that one we can talk about it after we finish talking about the terms of service lah. But as you can see, Twitter is not so nice as well, right? When anything you post on Twitter, you give Twitter and everyone the right to quite simply share to everyone. Although, yeah, it doesn't mean your content is owned by Twitter or anything, but in a sense, it's like the same already lah. Because Twitter, you give Twitter everything. You let Twitter do anything about with your content, with your whatever you post in Twitter. So I say this is unfair, but then people don't really realize this because they do not read the terms of service and only found out like, very unfair when other people share terms of service from other websites. Like say the one I talk about, like in AI, the company that does the AI thing where they can something like illuminate the art as if it's like a light is really show like shining on it, right? That company's terms of service say something about using your content, using your art for to improve their AI program. But that's the thing. They actually say they use your content for a purpose. But compared to Twitter, Twitter just say they can use it for anything. They didn't say anything, but they didn't say for what purpose also. So that means anything lah. They can use for anything. They can use for whatever reason they want. Yeah. So much worse than the AI program company's terms of service. So why people complain about that complain about that company's TOS when Twitter's TOS is even worse, right? Twitter so big, got so much money, do so many things, invest in so many things, has so many different types of services, right? Isn't that worse? Much worse, right? Twitter is a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Much worse. They can use they literally have a terms of service that allow them to use your content for anything. But then why? Because nobody care. As long as as long as Twitter is like very neutral, they would close one eye, open one eye. If that makes sense. So yeah. The only reason why the AI company was targeted is because their founders were like in their personal time dealing with NFTs. They're dealing with cryptocurrency. That is why, nothing else. So it's like it's hypocritical. I say hypocritical. Now that time to delete me Twitter. That's the thing. It's not just Twitter. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Blibli, whatever TOS, whatever big social platform, all has this TOS. All these TOS, because these platforms are all about sharing content. If they don't have this sharing content, this clause, how they operate their business? They cannot operate their business. They will not be able to. How do you say? Quite literally, social platform is to share other people content. Share here, share there, reproduce here, reproduce there, remix here, remix there, right? Like TikTok, same also. TikTok you can allow people to remix your TikTok clips. If everyone cannot, if all these big platform do not let you use this, do not let them, you do not give them some license to use your content. How they do their operation? They can't do anything. They can't let you do all the sharing thing. Can let you upload stuff only, and you can only see yourself, because if other people see, other people can copy. All right. Nothing we can do. What I'm trying to point out is it's hypocritical to say one company is doing bad and the other another company is doing good. Every company is doing bad. Every company is doing bad. My internet no good now. Raining hard. I see. Too bad, too bad. Raining in Malaysia is very common, and if got thunder, even worse. No, always confirm got blackout one. So yeah, Anyhow, we should move on. We should move on. Right. Let's see. Twitter. Here it say Twitter has an evolving set of rules for how ecosystem partners can interact with your content on the services. Oh yeah, I talked about this already. They essentially justify why Twitter can use your stuff for all these purposes, because again, Twitter is literally the website you go and share this, share that, share everything for people to see, to expose yourself. That sounds very wrong, but you know what I mean. Okay, you know what I mean. Anyways, let's move on. Okay, last paragraph on this thing. You represent and warrant that you have or have obtained all rights, licenses, consents, permissions. Okay, this one no need to read lah. This one is just saying that anything you post is you have the right lah. You have the rights to post. Okay, move on. Using the services. Please review the Twitter rules and policies. And for Periscope, I do not know what is Periscope. Maybe someone can enlighten me what is Periscope. But anyways, Periscope have their own community guideline as well, which are part of the user agreement and outline what is prohibited on the services. You may use the services only in compliance with these terms and all applicable laws, rules, and regulations. Our services all evolve constantly. As such, the services may change from time to time at our discretion. We may stop permanently and temporarily providing the services or any features within the services to you or to users generally. We also retain the right to create limits on use and storage at our sole discretion at any time. We may also remove or refuse to distribute any content or services, limit distribution or visibility of any content on the service, suspend or terminate users, and reclaim usernames without liability to you. So yeah, Twitter, although they say they are like neutral, they don't support this, support that, but still, they have rules and policies to make sure this website is not full of crap, as they say. So yeah, still, they Twitter, of course, need to have some rules, right? Some rules and policies. Like you just can't like a lot of things like not really connected to like race or religion or politics or anything like that. Things like doing something criminal, illegal also can be considered like that as well. Like can be considered as part of the rules and policies lah. So that's why Twitter cannot be totally neutral, right? Like let everyone post all sorts of illegal stuff on the website, right? Anyhow, that is what Twitter can do. So this paragraph is so big. I think I know what it's talking about. Is maybe I would guess it is talking about very, very specific things that you can or you cannot do. So we just quickly read through this thing and in our Malaysian accent or whatever time we have left. So here goes. In consideration for Twitter granting you access to use of the services, you agree that Twitter and its third-party providers and partners may place advertising on the services or in connection with the display of content or information from the services when submitted by you or others. Okay, this is just say about advertising. We know Twitter or advertise lah, but it's not that bad considering Twitch and everything else like show you video advertisement. Twitter just show you like one post or two posts like that. Not really inconvenient, so never mind. You also agree not to misuse our services. Okay, so this is something you cannot do. For example, by interfering with them or accessing them using a method other than the interface and the instructions that we provide, you agree that you will not work around any technical limitations in the software provided you as part of the services, or reverse engineer, decompile, or disassemble the software except and only to extent that applicable law expressly permits. You may not do any of the following while accessing or using the services. Access, tamper with, or use non-public areas of the services, Twitter's computer systems, or the technical delivery systems of the Twitter providers. Okay. 15 minutes is up. Alright. Sorry about that, Waltz. Alright. Probe, scan, or test the vulnerability of any system or network, or breach or circumvent any security or authentication measures. Access or search or attempt to access or search the services by any means, automated or otherwise, other than the true current availability. Publish interfaces that are provided by Twitter and only pursuant to the applicable terms and conditions, unless you have been specifically allowed to do so in a separate agreement with Twitter. Note: crawling the services is permissible if done in accordance with the provisions of the robot text file. However, scraping the services without the prior consent of Twitter is expressly prohibited. Forge any TCP IP packet header or any part of the header information in any email or posting, or in any way using the services to send altered, deceptive, or false source in identifying information, or interfere or disrupt or attempt to do so, the access of any user, host, or network, including without limitation, sending a virus, overloading, flooding, spamming, mail bombing the services, or by scripting the creation of content in such a manner as to interfere with or create an undue burden on the services. We also reserve the right to access, read, preserve, and disclose any information as we reasonably believe is necessary to satisfy any applicable law, regulation, legal process, or governmental requests. Enforce the terms, including investigation of potential violations hereof, detect, prevent, or otherwise address fraud, security, or technical issues, respond to user support requests, or protect the rights, property of safety of Twitter, its users, and the public. Twitter does not disclose personally identifying information to third parties except in accordance with our privacy policy. Twitter may offer certain services or features for which additional terms and conditions may apply in connection with your use of those services. By using or paying for any additional services, you agree to any additional terms applicable to those services, and those additional terms become part of our agreement with you. If any of the applicable additional terms conflict with these terms, the additional terms will prevail while you are using those services to which they apply. Yeah, so this is just saying, yep, they will tell you if there's any additional terms, which are all these things here. There is terms for paid services, there are terms for developer features for the services. And then there are advertising features for the services. These are very, very specific stuff. I think we don't really need to go through all this. It's very technical, that not necessary we can learn much from this, right? Just to let you know, yeah, they tackle all technical. Apparently Twitter has legal documents targeting or focusing on specific technical services, which would probably apply to a few people only, a very narrow group of people. In any case, let's move on. Your account. You may need to create an account to use some of our services. You are responsible for safeguarding your account, so use your strong password and limit its use to this account. We cannot and will not be liable for any loss or damage arising from your failure to comply with the above. You can control most communications from the services. We may need you to provide certain communications such as service announcements. We may need to provide you with certain communications and such as service announcements and administrative messages. These communications are considered part of the services and your account, and you may not be able to opt out from receiving them. If you added your phone number to your account and you later change or deactivate that phone number, you must update your account information to help prevent us from communicating with anyone who acquires your old number. Right? It is part and advice and part terms. They're telling you they are not responsible if you're careless with your account, which I would say very fair to say, and things that are necessary to make sure you're using the services as it should be. So yeah, your license to use the services. Twitter gives you a personal, worldwide, royalty-free, non-assignable, and non-exclusive license to use the software provided to you as part of the services. This license has the sole purpose of enabling you to use and enjoy the benefit of the services as provided by Twitter in the manner permitted by these terms. So yeah, we using their services is a license. I think this is not similar to copyright license. This is something kind of different. It's like giving you a propriety, giving you a tool. You can imagine Twitter as have a construction tool or a communication tool for you to use. You do not own Twitter as a program, whether it's through mobile phones or through the browsers. They're telling you they are using it for their services only, and they are authorizing you to use it without any compensation for it, without any fees for it. That's why hence the word royalty free. All right, royalty free, and also you cannot reproduce this service elsewhere, and that's why it says non-assignable, non-exclusive license. You can't pass this license to other people. The services are protected by copyright, trademark, and other laws, both of the United States and other countries. Nothing in the terms give you the right to use the Twitter name or any of the Twitter trademarks, logos, domain names, other distinctive brand features, and other proprietary rights. All right, title, interest in and to the services, excluding content provided by users, are and will remain the exclusive property of Twitter and its licenses. Any feedback, comments, or suggestions you may provide regarding Twitter or the service is entirely voluntary, and we will be free to use such feedback, comments, or such suggestions as we see fit and without any obligation to you. Alright, so yeah, it should be quite obvious you do not have any rights over Twitter's properties at all. The services in here includes all those logos, brands, and trademarks or anything that Twitch uses. So yeah. Ending these terms, I guess this is almost at the end already. Quite short really. You may end your legal agreement with Twitter at any time by deactivating your account and discontinuing your use of the services. See, okay, they tell you how to terminate or delete your account. That's good. For instructions on how to deactivate your what happens to your we may suspend or terminate your account or cease providing you with all or part of the services at any time for any no reason, including but not limited to, if we reasonably believe you have violated these terms or the Twitter rules and policies or Periscope community guidelines. You create risk or possible legal exposure for us. Your account should be removed due to unlawful conduct. Your account should be removed due to prolonged inactivity, or our provision of services to you is no longer commercially viable. We will make reasonable efforts to notify you by the email address associated with your account or the next time you attempt to access your account, depending on the circumstances. In all such cases, the terms shall terminate, including without limitation, your license to use the services, except that the following sections shall continue to apply: 2, 3, 5, and 6. If you believe your account was terminated in error, you can file an appeal following the steps found in our help center. For avoidance of doubt, these terms survive the deactivation or termination of your account. Right. Very simple. Quite short though as well. Quite short. Should we talk about their rules and policies as well? Yeah, I guess so. This is rather short. I've only started doing 1 hour, and we're almost at the end already. And I think the other half is just for those that are in the European Union and EFTA states or United Kingdom. I would say this part of this version of the terms of service might be more favorable to us, but who knows? In any case, it is not applicable to me. I do not live in any of these places, and such I am not bound by these things. That is how this works. That's how terms and conditions work, right? We generally have to see where Twitter is operating, where they are providing the services, the websites, the apps, where they are distributing it. All those things are very complicated. There's a lot of things involved to get approvals, get things done, get things legally licensed, all those stuff, which I don't want to get into. We just let you know that is the general idea why we have different terms of service for different countries, because it technically just means there are some things that Twitter can get away with, and some things that Twitter cannot get away with, and they have to provide a clause, a term specifically addressing that issue, or addressing that local issue, right? We may revise these terms from time to time. The changes will not be retroactive, and the most current version of terms, which will always be at twitter.com TOS, will govern our relationship with you. We'll try to notify you of material revisions, for example, via service notification or an email to the email associated with your account, by continuing to access or use the services after those revisions become effective. You agree to be bound by the revised terms. The laws of the state of California, including its choice of law provisions, will govern these terms and any dispute that arises between you and Twitter. All disputes related to these terms or services will be brought solely in the federal or state courts located in San Francisco County, California, United States. Any consent to personal jurisdiction and waive any objection as to convenient forum. If you are a federal, state, or local government entity in the United States using the services in your official capacity and legally unable to accept the controlling law, jurisdiction, or venue clauses above, then those clauses do not apply to you. For such U.S. federal government entities, these terms and any action related thereto will be governed by the laws of the United States of America, without reference to conflict of laws. In the absence of federal law and the extent permitted under federal law, the laws of state of California, excluding choice of law. So yeah, apparently they addressed this. I don't seem to recall anything that whether YouTube or Twitch has addressed this. But yeah, if any government officials are using Twitter to I think a lot, at least in the United States, like their police force has a Twitter account for each state or each county. I'm not sure, but there is a lot of those. And other government departments also have a Twitter account, like those medical staff, the FDA probably. All those government officials do have Twitter accounts. Much the same as our government here in Malaysia as well. At least I know there's Twitter accounts for Malaysian government, and I think in other platforms I think also Facebook. Anyways, yeah, good on them to address this situation. Where if let's say there's the account user, the Twitter user is actually a government from United States or state of California, then they'll have to address this. They have to address this circumstance. It might or may not happen. They may or may not happen. Anyhow, in the event, okay, last sentence over here, in the event that any provision of this term is held to be invalid or unenforceable, then that provision will be limited or eliminated to the minimum extent necessary, and the remaining provisions of these terms will remain in full force and effect. Twitter's failure to enforce any right or provision of these terms will not be deemed a waiver of such right or provisions. So yeah, if there is a clause that is unenforceable for a reason, doesn't mean that the entire agreement is invalid. That is usually put in on most terms of service. Why? The only thing I can think of why is that there's a possibility if you don't put this in, the entire agreement might be void. The entire agreement might be considered void because it might view that they might view that how do you say this? The agreement, just because of one clause, would likely, if let's say this agreement was disputed in a court case, and one or two clauses been found without or found out to be unenforceable for one reason or another, the party that wants the entire agreement to be void might advocate for it, might want to go push that way. If the agreement doesn't say anything, they might probably provide some justification as to say that the agreement is unfair or anything like that. And since that in practice, this one is I'm not so certain, but probably by precedent of previous laws or previous cases, if they do not provide this sort of a clause to sever themselves from the other parts of the terms and conditions of the agreement, the entire agreement might be declared void, and none of it will be usable, and it will be deep shit if that happens. Anyhow, also, yeah, again, the thing about waiving rights if Twitter doesn't enforce any breach of contract. Do you have to say this? Because sometimes inaction to do something might imply that you're in agreement of something. So this one puts it to rest as a issue, right? Even if Twitter doesn't talk about it, doesn't take any action, or doesn't say anything about it, doesn't mean they are okay with the breach of contract, the breach of terms, right? Hence, they are telling you there is no waiver. There won't be any deemed waiver of such rights for failure to enforce any rights or provisions of these terms, right? Very good to put this in any legal document. These terms are an agreement between you and Twitter, Incorporated, 1355 Market Street, Suite 900, San Francisco, California, 94103, USA. If you have any questions about these terms, please contact us, or even have a contact page. Nice. We even have archives of previous TOS. Interesting. So now this one, I would say I don't think I should go through this in any serious capacity, because it's going to, I won't say it's going to be the same. So now I'm just going to quickly glance through all this. Blah 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 blah. Same, responsible, including compliance. Same. Reserve the right to remove. Blah blah. Same. Your rights and grants. Submitting this is the same corporate stuff. So yeah, and even in these countries, you still need. They are still telling you that you have given them a full license to use all and everything. Yeah, they did not say anything about not being able to assign the license to other people. So yeah, they can assign license to other people as well. Sub-license, as they say. Same. It might be something different. but if anything, it's probably very, very minor. You can't your license to use the service, ending these terms, limitations of liability. Well, limitations of liability. Do we have that? Oh, we do have. Over here, I skipped limitations of liability. So yeah, disclaimers and limitations of liability. This is something, again, is the part where it may or may not be enforceable. This is the terms and conditions that is most likely going to be in contention of whether Twitter can absolve themselves of responsibility and liability just because they have these terms and conditions, right? Really, really highly depends on the facts. So in that case, they can't just say this and then be, yep, you can't sue me. No, this doesn't mean that. It could mean that their liabilities are limited, but not absolutely. Okay. Your access to and use of the services or any content are at your own risk. You understand and agree that the services are provided to you on an as is and is available basis. The Twitter entities refer, okay, as is and as available. I don't usually see this on online legal documents, but I've seen this as on the legal documents I drafted when I was doing conveyancing in real life, practicing all those in conveyancing services. Yeah, they are telling you that as is and as available basis, meaning say if it's available, you can use it. Doesn't mean that if it's not available, then they have been breached or something. It's not always available. This is what they are saying. The Twitter entities refers to Twitter, its parents, affiliates, related companies, officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, partners, and licensors, without limiting the foregoing to the maximum extent permitted under applicable law. The Twitter entities disclaim all warranties and conditions, whether express or implied, or merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, or non-infringement. Yep, so they are trying to push this clause in, which again is debate. It can be argued against whether it is enforceable to its full extent. The Twitter entities makes no warranty or representation and disclaim all responsibility and liability for completeness, accuracy, availability, timeliness, security, or reliability of the services for any content. Again, yeah, all these things is like, yeah, basically, not Twitter is telling you they are not responsible for anything, whether they are not providing up to standards service, or their service has been attacked by something, or attacked by someone, or you have made some sort of loss because of this. They're all trying to remove themselves of liability. Any harm to your computer system, loss of data, or harm that results from your access to use the services or content, deletion of or the failure to store or to transmit any content and other communications maintained by the services, and whether the services will meet your requirements or be available on an uninterrupted, secure, or error-free basis. No advice for information, whether oral or written, obtained from Twitter entities or through the services will create any warranty or representation not expressly made herein. So yeah, a lot of words. Again, just understand that quite literally, whatever they are still telling you, whatever Twitter says by whoever is representing Twitter is not going to be held responsible for any sort of a loss or damages. And then yeah, we have this capital letters, fun. Why? I do not know why. If there is anyone who is like a practicing lawyer and does draft contracts, Tell me why it has to be capitalized like this. It's hard to read. It destroys my eyes, and there's no legal benefit to this. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, Twitter entities shall not be liable for any indirect, incidental, special, inconsequential, or punitive damages, or any loss of profits or revenues, whether incurred directly or indirectly, or any loss of data, use, goodwill, or other intangible losses resulting from your access to or use of any inability to access for the use the services, any conduct or content of any third party or services, including without limitation, any defamatory, offensive, or illegal conduct of other users or third parties, any content obtained from the services or unauthorized access, use, or alteration of your transmissions or content. In no event shall the aggregate liability of the Twitter entities exceed the greater of $100 US or the amount you paid with Twitter, if any, in the past 6 months for the services giving rise to the claim. In no event shall the aggregate liability exceed the greater amount. Yeah, they are again. If they're pushing all the things in this, like even if you can claim, you can only claim up to $100. The limitation of this subsection shall apply to any theory of liability, whether based on warranty, contract, statute, tort, including negligence or otherwise, and whether or not Twitter entities have been informed of the possibility of any such damage, and even if a remedy is set forth herein is found to have failed of its essential purposes. So yeah, that's why they put this here. Quite smart, and they put it as to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law. They're saying if the law says that I can't limit my liability to some things, then so be it. But of course, they will list it out, all this stuff. For this type of platform, they have to list this sort of disclaimer, limitation, liability, all that stuff. If not, they wouldn't even. There's at least something to say, I guess, like something they can argue with. But again, not the main thing, not the one thing that Twitter can escape from liability or such. We always have to look into the facts of how much Twitter is involved for any loss or damages caused to the users, the people who use these services. So yeah, we've read the entire thing, and I guess as you can see, anyone that is not living in the EU or UK, the limitation there isn't even a disclaimer at all. There's none of this. And limitation liability for the EU and all those countries is just this small paragraph. By using the services, you agree that Twitter, its parents, affiliates, related companies, officers, directors, employees, agents, liability is limited to the maximum extent previously in the country of residence. Yep, it's probably illegal to say illegal to put a term for those countries. That's why they don't even try to put it. Yeah, none of that nonsense is in here. Well, good for you. Anyone that's living in Europe or living in UK, you got the slightly better version of the terms of service. Okay. And anyone that is living in European Union, EFTA states, or the United Kingdom. So that's that. Let me check on rules and policy. What is it going to? Is it gone? Let me check the. Where's the thing? Rules and policy. Is it huge? Yep, it is huge. It is huge. But I don't think we should read all of it though. I think at the most we'll be reading the platform values policy. Yeah, even though those things are here, we will probably be selective with what we are going to be reading through. Because this is huge, a lot of things, but still important things to talk about. I'll start reading through rules and policies. But if anyone has any questions on the terms of Twitter's terms of service, let me know, okay? But I'll at least copy this and let you all read this on your own. Testing 1 2 3. Hello. Welcome back to another. Welcome back, not to another. Welcome back from the break. Took a bit longer than usual. Oh, bloody hell! Aaron. Hello. Good evening to you. Aaron. So yeah, we are going to be continuing talking about. Turn this down. We'll be continuing talking about the Twitter's rules and policy at the moment. And a bit at least, a bit. All right, and we'll see. We should continue any further. Let's see. Over here. All right, good. So this isn't a small thing. There's quite a few things we have to get through. But let's go to the one that is. I want to really see if they have any rules or policy on it, which is adult content. So yeah, these are the rules and policies are basically things that you can or cannot do while using Twitter's services. And for one, I'm interested in learning about whether that's a thing. All right. So platform integrity and authenticity. I think this is all misinformation stuff. Safety and cybercrime. Non-consensual nudity policy. Sensitive media policy, sexual exploitation, glorification of violent organizations, illegal certain intellectual property. Oh, interesting. There doesn't seem to be anything about the. Let me see, where is such a thing? Sensitive. This is type sexual, right? Apparently not. Yep. Even though it is for people who are over age 13 can use it. Is there a sensitive media policy? Should be, but I don't think it is it. Let me go back. Right, under here, September 2022. It's quite new. Sensitive media policy. You may not post media that is excessively gory or share violent or adult content within live video or in profile header, list, or community banner images. Okay. Media depicting sexual violence and or assault is also not permitted. People use Twitter to show what's happening in the world, often sharing images and videos as part of conversation. Sometimes this media can depict sensitive topics, including violence and adult content. We recognize that some people may not want to be exposed to sensitive content, which is why we balance allowing people to share this type of media with helping people who want to avoid it to do so. Okay. So they are saying balancing. All right. So they did not specify what is adult content. Well, we'll talk. Oh, they do have. All right. We'll read through the entire thing there before we make any sort of a conclusion out of this one. Yep, this is the one I wanted to look at. For this reason, you can't include violent, hateful, or adult content within areas that are highly visible on Twitter, including in live video, profile, header, list banner images, or community banner images. If you share this content on Twitter, you need to mark your account as sensitive. Okay, how do I do that? Is there something you can do? Login account, click on the more account icon, select settings and privacy. Go to privacy setting, click your tweet section, check the box to mark media you tweet as containing material that may be sensitive. Oh, okay. Understand. Right, so that's how you make all your tweets sensitive materials. All right then. But that is how people are allowed to, I guess, post these sort of things on Twitter. For this reason, you can't blah 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 blah. Doing so places images and videos behind an interstitial warning message that needs to be acknowledged before your media can be viewed. Using this feature means that people who don't want to see sensitive media can avoid it, or make an informed decision before they choose to view it. We also restrict specific sensitive media, such as adult content, for viewers who are under 18 or viewers who do not include a birth date on their profile. Learn more about age-restricted content here. I do want to learn more about that, so we'll look into that. Under this policy, there are also some types of sensitive media content that we don't allow at all, because they have the potential to normalize violence and cause distress to those who view them. We group sensitive media content in the following categories. Graphic violence. Graphic violence is any media that depicts death, violence, medical procedures, or serious physical injury in graphic detail. Some examples include, but are not limited to, depictions of violent crimes or accidents, physical fights, physical child abuse, bodily fluids including blood, feces, semen, serious physical harm including visible wounds, severely injured or mutilated animals. Exceptions may be made for documentary educational content, alright? Adult content is any consensually produced and distributed media that is pornographic or intended to cause sexual arousal. Some examples include, but are not limited to, depictions of full or partial nudity, including close-ups of genital, buttocks, or breasts, excluding content relating to breastfeeding, simulated sexual acts, and sexual intercourse or other sexual acts. This also applies to cartoons, hentai, or anime involving humans, or depictions of animals with human-like features. Okay. Very professionally describing furry porn. Note, exceptions may be made for artistic, medical, health, or educational content. For content that was created or distributed without the consent of those featured, please refer to our non-consensual nudity policy. Alright. Okay, so there are exceptions, but the exceptions are quite broad and unable to pinpoint. You could say for what is artistic? Medical, maybe, yes. Health, yes, maybe. Or educational, yes, and maybe. Artistic is the one that is, how would you be able to objectively determine adult content is for artistic purpose? Body art, body paint, or art that depicts like Renaissance art that depicts nudity, I understand. But the arts that I think feels Twitter in the majority, I don't think it's artistic. Yeah, then again, what is artistic or not is subjective in a way, right? So meaning to say, even if, let's say, something is depicted as sexual intercourse or sexual acts, it can be considered artistic. Okay. Anyhow, well, with this one, I would say it's, yeah, the exception, it seems like it's pretty broad. I don't think it really blocks anyone from posting any of this kind of stuff. Exceptions are quite really like general. Instead of it being the exception, it's more like the general rule of adult content can be shown on Twitter. And then, anyways, let's move on. Violent sexual conduct. Violent sexual conduct is any media that depicts violence, whether real or simulated, in association with sexual acts. Some examples include, but are not limited to, depictions of rape and other forms of violent sexual assault, or sexual acts that occur without the consent of participants, including a simulated lack of consent, and sexualized violence, inflicting physical harm on an individual within an intimate setting where it is not immediately obvious if those involved have consented to take part. Gratuitous gore. Gratuitous gore is any media that depicts excessively graphic or gruesome content related to death, violence, or severe physical harm, or violent content that is shared for sadistic purposes. Some examples include, but are not limited to, depictions of dismembered or mutilated humans, charred or burned human remains, exposed internal organs or bones, and animal torture or killing. Exceptions may be made for religious sacrifice. Okay, this exception is only for this one. Food preparation or processing and hunting. Hateful images. Hateful imagery is any logo, symbol, or image that has intention to promote hostility against people on the basis of race, religion, affiliation, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or ethnicity, national origin. Some examples of hateful imagery include, but are not limited to, symbols historically associated with hate groups. Example, the Nazi swastika. Images depicting others as less than human or altered to include hateful symbols. Example, altering images or individuals to include animalistic features. Images altered to include hateful symbols or references to a mass murder that targeted a protected category. Example, manipulating images of individuals to include yellow Star of David badges in reference to the Holocaust. Okay. All very bad things, all very obviously should not be allowed. But apparently none of this there's any exception to this. Interesting. At least for the other, how do you say, at least for Twitch or YouTube, there are exceptions for these things, which I would understand is for education and documentary purposes. But apparently not for Twitter. And apparently there are plenty of exceptions for adult content though. Anyhow, let's move on. What is in violation of this policy? Our aim is to limit exposure to sensitive images and videos and to prevent the sharing of potentially disturbing types of sensitive media. For this reason, we differentiate our enforcement approach depending on the type of media that has been shared and where it has been shared. Graphic violence, adult content, and hateful imagery. You can't target people with unsolicited images or videos that contain graphic violence, adult content, or hateful imagery. And you can't include graphic violence, adult content, or hateful imagery within live video, profile, header, list banner images, or community banner images. So they're very specific on what content can be, what things can be including of these things and cannot. The thing they did not mention is very specifically tweets, normal tweets. apparently, if you did, as long as your all these things, the live video profile, all that stuff, doesn't have any adult content, you're good. You're good. So keep that in mind. Anyone that is like a quote unquote adult content creator, I'm very, very sure there are people who do it. I'm not saying anything is bad or anything. Really, it's up to your discretion. But do know that you can't do this though. Basically, do any live video. Put any of these things in your live video, profile, header, list banner, images, or community banner. So yeah, if any of this depicts any of this content, Twitter doesn't allow it. Twitter doesn't allow it because those can't be blocked. I guess that's the reason. And because tweets can be blocked in the sense that you can put up a blur sign, a spoilers thing over your tweets. And then for violence, sexual conduct, and gratuitous gore, we prohibit violent sexual conduct to prevent the normalization of sexual assault and non-consensual violence associated with sexual acts. We prohibit gratuitous gore content because research has shown that repeated exposure to violent content online may negatively impact an individual's well-being. Yeah, I understand. For these reasons, you can't share images or videos that depict violent sexual conduct or gratuitous, is that how you say it? Gore on Twitter. Note, very limited exceptions may be made for gory media associated with newsworthy events. What is not a violation of this policy? You can share graphic violence and consensually produce adult content within your tweets. Your tweets, alright? So they are saying tweets only, provided that you mark this media as sensitive. We may also allow limited sharing of hateful imagery, provided that it is not used to promote a terrorist or violent extremist group, that you mark this content as sensitive and don't target it at an individual. They are mentioning someone or including an identifiable individual within such images. To mark your media as sensitive, navigate to your safety settings and Yeah, I know. We just read that. If you don't mark your media as sensitive, we will do so manually if your content is reported for review. So they will just mark your content, mark it for you, rather than do anything like banning you. Oh, okay, I guess. Who can report violations of this policy? Anyone can report potential violations of this policy via our dedicated reporting flows. So here they are very clear on this. Meaning to say, if some person doesn't like your face, they see that you're doing something wrong in against to Twitch's policies and rules, and they will report you. So yeah. One part of it is, yes, we want to make sure people don't do the wrong thing. We also don't want to make sure people who do not have the intention to do the wrong things get punished for something they do not know or are nowhere involved. So yeah, if possible, if you are friends with anyone that's watching this, right? Even if yourself isn't a quote-unquote adult content creator or person that posts a lot of violent stuff for some reason, do warn them about this, right? Do warn them about these things. Who can report violations of this policy? Yeah, I read that. Sorry. How can I report violations of this policy? And yeah, it seems very easy. You can report this content for review in app as follows. Report tweet displays a sensitive photo or video. Select the relevant option depending on what you are reporting. Desktop, same thing as well. Okay, report list. Jake and Morty. What? Isaac, what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? Anyhow, so you can report lists, you can report tweets. I guess you can report profiles as well. There's blood on your face. No, as I clarified, it is not blood. It is makeup, special effect, ketchup, whatever you want to call it. It is not blood. Hey man, I have a legal question. Is it legal to be cool as you? No, it is not. But me, you may think so. Okay, no problem with you. I said, no problem with you. So, and yeah, hi over there. Welcome. Anyhow, what happens if you violate this policy? The enforcement action we take depends on the type of media you have shared and where you have shared it. So, in terms of graphic violence, adult content, and hateful imagery, live video and profile images, the first time you violate this policy, we will require you to remove this content. So for first-time offenders, apparently they are lenient. We also temporarily lock you out of a account before you can tweet again. Okay, not so lenient. If you violate this policy again after your first warning, your account will be permanently suspended. Okay, not so... Yeah, first warning, then the second is basically shoot you in the head. Man. Sending someone unsolicited, violent, or adult content. If you target someone with sensitive media in a clearly abusive or unsolicited way, we will require you to remove it under our abusive behavior policy. And accounts dedicated to posting sensitive media, you may be permanently suspended if the majority of your activity on Twitter is... Wait, what? Accounts dedicated to posting sensitive media. Your account may be permanently suspended if the majority of your activity on Twitter is sharing sensitive media. This is interesting. Does this mean that people who do post majority of sensitive media aren't allowed to do that? Like say, within our context, within our community, VTubers have LootTubers. Or can't retweet sussy arts anymore. Isaac, I'm warning you. I'm warning you. Anyhow, yeah, it seems like this is very clear cut. I'm not sure how to interpret this any differently. Accounts dedicated to posting sensitive media. What constitutes as accounts dedicated to posting sensitive media? Right, that is a very broad definition. So LootTubers are included, and the more common ones, I would say, like what? OnlyFans stuff. I know there is a lot of those kind of accounts. And yeah, anyone who generally posts a lot of sussy arts, as Isaac has said. Would that be considered accounts dedicated to posting sensitive media or not? Could you argue you're not posting, your account is not posting dedicated to posting sensitive media, rather than you're posting art? Yeah, this is the way how Twitter has worded this is kind of contradictory. At the start, it's mentioned that they have exceptions to this, at least for adult content, right? Graphic violence and hateful imagery, there's very little exceptions to this. Does this sentence is not really for adult content, it's more for graphic violence and hateful imagery. Imagery. But most platforms don't have a specific guideline for sensitive media since it's a pretty broad topic. I know at least YouTube and oh yeah, I guess this is a social platform first and foremost. It could be different. But we'll have to look into Facebook, what Facebook says, or what Facebook's branch Instagram says, and what TikTok says about these things, and all those platforms where you share stuff. Not technically a video upload platform like YouTube or Twitch, because YouTube and Twitch, they are very clear on what they are allowing, right? Absolutely not allow. They are absolutely not allowing any pornographic stuff, of course, definitely. So there's nothing you can really argue about. But the way how Twitter words this is that, on one hand, they say you can, as long as you do the things necessary to cover them up. On the other hand, they're saying if your account is just full of this stuff, you can't do it, apparently. Because they will say you permanently suspended, not like giving a warning or anything. Unless it's something crazy like state secrets, I can't see much point of restricting sensitive media, especially when they are not specific what they state. This guy, I know, illegal spam. Please understand that this the sensitive media they're talking about, they are not talking about those government secrets and stuff and all that stuff. They're very specific. They are talking about graphic violence, adult content, and hateful imagery. Sensitive media doesn't mean like state secrets or government secrets or spies of that sort of any military secrets or proprietary secrets or anything like that. It's just violent stuff, or sexual stuff, or hateful stuff. Hateful stuff meaning to say those kind of discriminatory, racist stuff, sexist, all that stuff. Hateful imagery. If they don't say what is sensitive, yeah, they did say what's sensitive media. So basically, from this sentence, it means that anyone that is dedicated to posting violent stuff or adult content or hateful imagery could be permanently suspended. But this thing, does Twitter enforce this rule with an iron fist? Because I know with anecdotal experience, when someone reports a violation of Twitter's rules and policy, they do take action. They do take action. Of course, probably not just from one time reports, but after several, they will take action. They will look into it and take action. So this is something I can't confirm or deny, whether the Twitter really does anything about it. But again, for Twitter to enforce anything, all right, the first step is always for users to report them. So if nobody reports this quote unquote violations, they don't get removed. Twitter doesn't have all the time to go and like monitor every account in what they post. It's impossible. They do not. I believe they do not have a system like that, such as like YouTube's content ID system, where they automatically find out what's sus and not sus, and they will automatically remove it without human intervention. So yeah, my advice, my personal opinion is, this is a risk. This is a risk. In terms of these legal documents, what they are trying to say, it is a legal risk that it is possible to get your account. People could get your account. You could get into trouble because of people. Maybe trolls. Maybe people don't like you. Again, a lot. I would say a lot of times it's either people who are generally trying to remove content that is harmful, and people who are just trolls and doing things that to make your life a living hell. I get it, but at the same time, movies, books, and games also have sensitive content. But it not make sense to simply improve the safety features of Twitter instead of giving more power to moderators. This is more of an issue of how different companies deal with their certain subjects. Like I said, Twitch and YouTube is very, very clear that they do not allow any type of adult content on their platforms, and the way they enforce this is either through an automated system or through manually through their own moderation team. So at least for Twitter, it seems like their approach is for users to moderate themselves, in a sense, because the moderation teams of Twitter doesn't seem to monitor anything. It is up to the users themselves monitoring the content that's being shared on Twitter. So, right, same time, the movies, books, and games also have sensitive content. It did not make sense to simply improve the safety features. Twitter is imagine Twitter isn't a localized service that a platform that provides social services, a service that provide you social interactions. Sorry, it is a global thing. Every country, I would say, yeah, almost every country is using Twitter. How I would say much more than the people using it is much more than the amount of people who use YouTube or Twitch. It must be at, I don't know, billions. Could there be a billion people using Twitter? Could be. But how? Yeah. It's either they use a automated system to filter or track all these violations, or they use us to monitor these things. And of course, if famous people were to do all these things, immediately they will get banned. Such as, for example, the recent one, Kanye West, who posted anti-Semitic stuff against his own race, against his own ethnicity. Wait, I think it was against Jewish people, and then really justifying it because he's black or something, and he got banned. Anyhow, yeah, that's my take. At least my take is, on paper, all right. On paper, Twitter seems like they're saying you can't do this. So you take whatever that is for you, all right. However you want to interpret it, all right. Whether you, after knowing this, you will still continue to do whatever you want to do, but that is pretty much your discretion, right? I'm just here to enlighten people what the legal documents say. I'm not putting any of my own words in it. There's literally what the documents are saying. So, yeah. If you believe that your account was suspended in error, you can submit a bill. Okay. Violent sexual contact and gratuitous gore. If you share media that depicts violent sexual conduct or gratuitous gore anywhere on Twitter, we will require you to remove this content. If your account is dedicated to posting this type of content, your account will be immediately, permanently suspended. As opposed to this one, it's not immediate. We have to be careful with our wording, right? So over here, it's maybe permanently suspended. Here, it's will be immediately permanently suspended. Thank you for the look, Soap. So that's pretty much sensitive media. Additional resources, learn about our range of enforcement options, and approach to policy, blah, blah, blah. Adult content that was created or shared without consent, da, 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 da. Okay, notices on Twitter and what they mean. Placing a tweet behind an interstitial. Restrict viewers who are under 18 or who do not include a birthday on their profile from viewing adult content. You can learn how to add a birthday, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. People over 18 can opt out of viewing sensitive media by updating their settings here. Placing a tweet in violation behind an interstitial. We may allow controversial content or behavior which may otherwise violate our rules to remain on our service because we believe there is a legitimate public interest in its availability. When this happens, we limit engagement with the tweet and add a notice to clarify that the tweet violates our rules, but we believe it should be left up to serve this purpose. You can read more on how we review tweets and maybe the legitimate public interest. Okay, they do have some sort of justifications for those things, I guess. We'll read that as well. Notice for remove tweet that violated the rules. If a tweet was found to be in violation of our rules, yes, it will be deleted by the person who did it. We'll hide it behind the notice. The account will remain locked until the tweet is removed. Labeling a tweet that may contain disputed or misleading information. If we determine a tweet contains misleading or disputed information that could lead to harm, we may add a label to the content to provide context. For tweets containing media determined to have been significantly and deceptively altered or fabricated, we may add a manipulated media label. Having these labels may link to a Twitter movement or other trusted source to provide additional information. Learn more about our policy or synthetic and manipulated media and our approach to handling misleading information. Right, I do know for a fact that Twitter does make sure misinformation doesn't spread, and I've seen it myself. Tweets that are blocked or anything like that, somewhere around there they will tell you this tweet is not real, it's not true, and they will cite facts on it. Hiding a violating tweet while awaiting its removal. Once Twitter takes an enforcement action and the person removes their tweet, another notice will be available for 14 days after its removal. Where this notice is available, the details page. Okay, I think this is pretty technical stuff. This is just telling you what does it mean when things are blocked or suspended or can't be seen. Right, so it doesn't matter. It's not really what I need to know about on a general basis. We just want to know about what is or can't be done on Twitter. About public interest exceptions on Twitter. Defining the public interest. Twitter generally actions tweets that violate our rules. However, we recognize that sometimes it may be in the public interest to allow people to view tweets that will otherwise be taken down. We consider content to be in the public interest if it directly contributes to understanding or discussion of a matter of public concern. At present, we limit exceptions to one critical type of public interest content. Tweets from elected. We limit exceptions to one critical type of public interest content. There's only one exception, is it? Tweets from elected and government officials. Given the significant public interest in knowing and being able to discuss their actions and statements. As a result, in rare instances, we may choose to leave up a tweet from an elected or government official that will otherwise be taken down. Instead, we will place it behind a notice providing context about a rule violation that allows people to click through it to see the tweet. Placing a tweet behind this notice also limits the ability to engage with the tweet through likes, retweets, or sharing the Twitter, and makes sure the tweet isn't algorithmically recommended by Twitter. That's good. That's good. What they are doing. So even though they leave up the tweet, it's impossible to share it through the normal mean. Interesting. These actions are meant to limit tweets' reach while maintaining the public's ability to view and discuss it. When is it in public interest to preserve and access to a tweet? We decide whether a tweet that would otherwise violate Twitter rules is in the public interest using the following criteria and process. Alright, they do talk about it. Criteria for exceptions. The tweet violates one or more Twitter rules. Yes. The tweet was posted by a verified account. Okay. The account has more than 100,000 followers. The account represents a current or potential member of a local, state, national, or supranational governmental or legislative body. Current holders or an elected or appointed leadership position in a governmental or legislative body, or candidates or nominees of political office or registered political parties. Man, okay. Basically, meaning anyone that is part of a government or an elected representative of a country would be part of this exception. So nothing else. So you could say if a government official were to post up sensitive media, they will be part of this exception. Part of this exception because they don't really see anything else. Our global enforcement team will escalate any tweet that meets the criteria defined above for secondary review. Oh, they will. Okay, I guess they will review again. We will not evaluate tweets for the public interest exception if they do not violate the Twitter rules or otherwise fail to meet the criteria above. Our trust and safety team will evaluate the tweet and prepare a recommendation on whether or not to continue access to tweet is in the public interest. The recommendation will be shared with a cross-functional set of leaders across different internal teams with diverse and multidisciplinary backgrounds in government, human rights, journalism, news, technology, and laws, as well as in market teams with an understanding of the cultural context in which the tweet was posted. So serious, eh? It seems like a very, very serious thing. Set of leaders across different internal teams with diverse and multidisciplinary backgrounds in government. Wow, man. Do you really have... I guess you do have the resources to do all this fact-checking. Damn. So government officials can post enemy sussy art without consequences. Kind of. But then, nah, I mean... the base criteria would be would allow them to violate will allow them to be part of the exception, but of course they say they will have a second review, right? Secondary review. So probably by this stage they will remove that tweet if it doesn't serve any public interest. After informing this cross-functional stakeholders of the recommendation and feedback from the cross-functional team, senior leaders from trust and safety will make the final decision to remove the tweet or apply the notice. Okay. As with any enforcement action, our goal is consistent and transparent application of the notice, taking into account local context. While we do not consult externally or on individual enforcement decisions, our local teams regularly engage with civil society and external stakeholders to incorporate local context into how we develop policy and enforcement guidance. How we balance risks of harm versus the public. Do you really need to tell us all of these things? When we are less likely to make exceptions. When we are more likely to make exceptions. Oh man. Okay. Very thorough. Very thorough. This has to be one of the most thorough legal documents I've seen online. On enforcement of rules and regulations and stuff. How we balance risk of harm versus the public interest. Public interest exception does not mean that any eligible public official can tweet whatever they want, even if it violates the Twitter rules. Yep, there you have it, Isaac. That answers your question. When deciding whether to remove a tweet or place it behind a notice, we weigh the potential risk and severity of harm against the public interest value of the tweet. Where the risk of harm is higher and or more severe, we are less likely to make an exception. Oh. Yeah, so I guess, can you say if a public official posts a anime sassy art, is it harmful or not harmful? You be the judge, I guess. I mean, Twitter is the judge. So anyways, up to Twitter to determine whether that's not right or wrong and to leave it up. We are more likely to apply the notice of a violative tweet if the tweet is directed at other government or elected officials or institutions as part of a public debate or call to protest. There is a larger point to the tweet that is relevant to the author's or target's public role, or the tweet adds significant context to ongoing geopolitical events or issues. There is a significant documentary or accountability value in preserving the content as a matter of public record. Yeah, this is more likely to apply the notice. So, yeah, posting sassy anime art seems to be well not within these considerations. We are more likely to remove the tweet without applying the notice if the tweet includes a declarative call to action that could harm a specific individual or group, which shares information or engages in behavior that could directly interfere with individuals' exercise of their fundamental rights. We recognize the desire for these decisions to be clear-cut, yes, no binaries. Unfortunately, the reality is that they can't be. This is new territory for everyone, a service being used by world leaders to communicate directly to their constituents or other leaders at a times announced policy, and every decision we make sets a new precedent. We believe it is critical that we evaluate every case individually in a way that accounts for context and history. Over time, as we evaluate more tweets and make more of these decisions, we'll be establishing a case history that makes these calls easier to make. The table below provides a high-level overview of the thinking behind how we evaluate whether to remove or apply the notice across a range of Twitter rules. As with all our policies, we continue to respect local laws and balance other principles, including freedom of expression, when enforcing our rules. Even when content qualifies for the public interest exception, we continue to comply with applicable local laws as provided by a country withheld content policy. Okay, so I guess it's possible if, let's say, it's legal to tweet this thing, while it's not legal to tweet this thing in another country, they could restrict it specifically for those people who are residing in that country, I guess. Ooh, man. So, in essence, no sassy art for you, Isaac. No sassy art from from our Malaysian politicians, unfortunately. Unless you want to see those things. Oh man, Isaac, what's wrong with you? When we are less likely to make exceptions. Terrorism, violent extremism. You may not threaten or promote terrorism or violent extremism. There is no place on Twitter for terrorist organizations or blah blah blah. Okay, I think this is obvious. Violence. May not threaten violence against an individual or group of people. So prohibit the glorification of violence. Right, alright. Simple. I don't think we really need to do all this. Illegal or certain regulated goods or services, suicide or self-harm, election integrity, private information, when you're more likely to make exceptions. Hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against threaten, abuse, harassment, sensitive media. You may not share any media that depicts excessively graphic or gruesome content related to death, violence, or severe physical harm. All violent content is shared for sadistic purposes. No, nothing's wrong with me. Okay, we're done with public interest. Good on them, I guess. In a way, they are trying to be transparent about how they deal with enforcement, I guess. But then those are just them explaining their thought process. It's not like if they don't do it, if they don't consider these factors, then they would be in breach of contract or anything like that, or in breach of a law or anything like that. No. Again, there's those things that they explain how they come to a decision is just explanatory. It's not really something that binds them. They are not saying they must consider this. They must factor into this information or such. The only thing we want to know about is for a fact what is allowed and what is not allowed. All right. So again, let's about the sensitive media policy. If after reading this, anyone that is reading this now or later, somehow you're watching my VOD, congratulations, you are very kind and dedicated yourself. But yeah, if you are making adult content, just know that this over here, there's exceptions, of course. Yeah, they say that you can do it, but where is it again? I highlighted it, right? Or did I not highlight it? I did not highlight it. I should highlight it. Wait. Have I not highlighted it? Where is it? Who can report violations? Blah 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 blah. Yeah, over here. Interestingly enough, accounts dedicated to posting sensitive media. Your account may be permanently suspended if the majority of activity on Twitter is sharing sensitive media. So yeah, may is discretionary. It is not 100%. Oh, you have your account is dedicated to posting sensitive media. You will be suspended. They are saying may be suspended. But of course, if the majority of the activity on Twitter is sharing sensitive media. So the criteria is majority. Not sure what majority means here. 51%. How do you calculate majority? Right? 51%, 60%, 70%. So that's that. Anyhow, that's how I interpret it. And yeah, that's pretty much what I want to learn about, specifically on rules and policy. And I think we should get this. We should continue this on the next session, because we're supposed to just be talking about Twitter's terms of service, and we already talked about that. And the things we learned is only one major thing, important thing that we've learned is this. It's a gamble I would take. Right, Isaac? It is your account. Your right to do anything you want. It's not a criminal offense or anything. It is just something that is in violations of our rules and policy. And if you want to violate it, violate all you want. That sounds wrong. And believe me, I'm just saying it as it is. Anyhow, so yeah, today we are just supposed to just learn terms of service. It's a short legal document. And yeah, what the other thing, only one thing I noticed is, yes, apparently only 13 years olds, anyone who is above 13 years old can use Twitter. And apparently I do not know how you can monitor that. Let's say, I guess it would be automatically blocked if anyone has posted any sort of a sensitive media on Twitter. It will be automatically blocked for minors. I'm not sure. If that's the case, yeah, then I would say shouldn't be any problem. But then again, if the minors were to create their own account, they could set their own age. You never know, right? You never know if someone is actually 18 years old, actually an adult, or actually a minor. That's a sassy statement from a lawyer. No, I said no. Anyhow, so yeah, that's actually just my concern with people posting adult content on Twitter. Is that people who are underage who are using it. So whether or not you're taking measures to restrict yourself is kind of we can't really do anything about it. It can't really stop them from looking at you. Well, I don't think they can't. It's just they don't want to take any responsibility. Minus lie their age and get trouble in Twitter or something. Yeah, that's one thing. I'm talking more towards about people who use Twitter, knowing that minors use them, and Twitter is quite a, I would say, the most popular social platform, one of the most popular social platform there is. And the more people there are, the more likely a minor, someone who is underage, will be using the platform. So I guess if your morality or ethics only extend towards what you believe people should be able to be responsible for themselves, then yeah, and that is how you view your life, then that is more power to you, I guess. There's nothing wrong in thinking in that way, I would say. Since we all understand whether it is a popular web platform or not, it's inevitable. There is going to be a way for people to circumvent any sort of blocks to look at things they are not supposed to look, to read things they are not supposed to read, and such. But yeah, my take is, for me personally, I don't want to be responsible for that, for any of that happening, and even my so to speak, adult jokes are very, very limited to these nuts, as well as noise 69, and what else? I'm coming, and all that only. Right? Limited to those things, and nothing else. But then again, my content has never been for minors per se, right? It's normally for adults. It should be for adults, right? Adults should be the ones who should be learning how to read contracts, read the law, be prepared for any legal risks and such. As the platform, that's the reason I have this. Hey, Melon, welcome back. Why are you angry? Are you angry? What's that emote for? Anyhow, so yeah, the other thing that we learned about terms of service is the copyright stuff. Why I focus on this is people bash people, I would say a lot of times, now and then. Of course, there is a recent example. They always found that when someone discovers a terms of service or any legal documents saying that all your arts belong to us is bad, or your content belongs to us, or some type of terms and conditions that somehow say something in that sense, right? Like they are like stealing your art, quote unquote stealing your art, or using your art without your permission and such. But again, Prime example, the one that everyone uses without any concern, is Twitter themselves have this clause as well. They literally, anything you post on Twitter, anything you provide for Twitter, they have the license to use it. Of course, you're not giving them rights, right? No one, you can't give rights just by posting art to someone else's platform. So the thing that the thing that Twitter does is automatically say whatever you post on Twitter, you give them a license for them to, as they say, use, copy, reproduce, process, adapt, modify, publish, transmit, display, and distribute such content. Or they even say like use these rights. These rights are, for example, for curating, transforming. How they do it, at least curating, transforming, translating. You even allow them to make it available for the rest of the world and let others do the same as well. Meaning, you say let other people share your content as well, of course through their service. And they say about Twitter also can use your content to provide, promote, improve their services, and to make content submitted to or through the services available to other companies, organizations, individuals for the syndication, broadcast, distribution, retweet, promotion, or publication of such content on other media and services, subject to our terms and conditions for such content use. So, oops. They're even saying they are allowing everyone else to share your stuff in other places. So what's worse, this or another random company that has a online terms of service for you to agree on? But my point is that that the other smaller terms of service, other companies' terms of service is more fairer than Twitter's. My point has always been that it is hypocritical to say one online agreement is unfair while another is not, because I would say all terms of service like this is going to be unfair. It's just that you are biased when you're using some platform that is that you're always using and you thought there is no problem with it, even though you're doing exactly the thing that you don't want to do as well. In my opinion, I think they just want to use your tweets, images, and videos when they want to include them in promotional Twitter video or something, so they don't need to ask permission every time from you. What reasons Twitter uses your content is up to them. They can use it for that. They can use it for promotion and stuff. The thing, in terms of how they worded it on paper, right? How they worded it on paper is that they have almost absolute control, or absolute not control, permission. All right, we have to be clear on this. Permission is not the same as rights. Permission or licenses, you are giving them permission to do anything with your work. Of course, you technically you are legally still owning it. Of course, right. Over here it says, what I'm trying to say was they do say this, right? They do say you retain rights to any content you submit, post, or display, or through the services. They're not saying they're taking your rights, anything like that. What they are saying is they can use your stuff however they want, and they don't need to get your permission out of it, right? They could be using it for promotion stuff. They could not. They could be using it for other things. We do not know, but we only know for I would say for reputational purposes, for neutrality purposes, Twitter has not abused this term. They have not use this term, use this condition to do whatever they want. They have been restraining themselves in a sense, right? From totally using whatever they want with your content. But of course, yes, I understand could be used for promotion, as well as things like, very obviously, Twitter is a sharing platform, a social sharing platform of any content, statement, sharing your thoughts, sharing your opinions, sharing your videos, sharing your audio, sharing your art, sharing your any information you want with the world. That is the purpose of Twitter. And to do that, you must give everyone, not just Twitter, the permission to share your content. And how far that reaches is up to debate, but at least within Twitter's services, if you do not allow people to share your stuff, how the functions, the features like retweets, sharing functions to other platforms, like sharing to Discord, sharing to Facebook, sharing to stuff, those would be kind of pointless to have, because by contractual rights, Twitter would not be able to do any of those if they do not have this term, right? But of course, to enable to do these things, you have to allow them to be free to really free to use your man. I think it's the wind, man. Door shut now like that. But yeah, to allow their services to be run as such as it should be, you have to give them all these permissions, right? There's a reason behind all of this, of course. But then again, these terms are all very broad. So for me, for anyone who are able to read this rationally, logically, would be able to understand it can be abused. All these terms can be abused. So whether you wish to agree or not, whether you disagree or do not disagree, it doesn't matter. As long as you're using the services, you have to agree to all these things, right? And I'm pretty sure Twitter, as a multi-billion-dollar company, has taken all sorts of measures to make sure you have agreed to the terms and conditions, right? Before letting you use the service. So yeah, I would say there would be no problem with saying that having people having people excusing themselves of not bound by these terms and conditions because they have not seen it, or if they've not been presented of it, or if they've not been notified of it. So there's that. Right. Also, they mentioned this. I'm not sure if this is for legal purposes. They mentioned that we can do all these things because the compensation is you using the services. By you allowing you to using the services for free, you have granted us the permission to use your content. Pretty weird. Over here, at last sentence here. Use of the service by you is hereby agreed as being sufficient compensation for the content and grant of rights service. Grant of rights herein. So yeah. Anyhow, that's it for my live seminar. I hope everyone has learned a thing or two. We'll be continuing the Twitter's rules and policy next week. We'll look more into all the things and see how Twitter deals with them. Probably in very, very, seriousness. So there's that. Okay. Any questions? Probably not, but yeah, just for completion's sake, any questions at all, anyone? I'll be waiting for a bit. Okay, take a 5-minute break while we chill. Let me check Twitter, of course, because I did talk about a few things, and apparently, I don't know. And maybe it's I'm seeing some tweets about you call VTubers or streamers are still doing that multi-stream thing, basically streaming on both Twitch and YouTube or in other platforms. But yeah, can't do that, right? If you're a Twitch affiliate, can't do that. I'm not sure what else I can say about on that issue, other than if you do not care or do not know. Well, I would say more towards not caring even after you have been notified. Oh, that one. I thought you can. No, Isaac. I thought you have watched me. Or have you not watched me talk about the affiliate agreement? But yes, you can't. There's the exclusivity period over here. All right. Basically, whenever you finish your stream or while you're streaming, and after 24 hours after you end the stream, you can't provide that content, whatever you've streamed, to any other place. You can't stream it, you can't upload the content until this exclusivity period has ended, right? And if you do this, it is a breach of contract, and a breach of contract includes all very, very severe consequence of getting your affiliate status terminated. Right? So yeah, this one. And they do talk about the breach of contract, you know. Oops, I don't think they used the word breach. Terminate. Terminate your account. Closing to terminate this agreement. Terminate. The term of this agreement will begin upon our acceptance and will end when terminated by either you or us. Either you or we may terminate this agreement at any time with or without cause by giving the other party written notice of termination. We may withhold accrued unpaid program fees for a reasonable period of time, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So the termination clause is really, really unfair, but then that's it, right? Not in the sense that there's no guarantee that your contract is permanently or long lasting or can't be terminated without any reason. You can't force people to be contracted. First thing about contractual law is you can't force people to be in a contract forever and ever. But it is a right to be able to opt out of a contract for whatever reason, whether there's a breach or not, right? But with the breach, definitely have more justification, definitely would be less likely to be liable of anything when you're terminating a contract for the other party's breach, right? If you're like literally breaching this exclusivity period, they have a legitimate reason to terminate you. There won't be any repercussions in the sense that that what they are doing is unfair. Has always been there. It's very clear in the beginning. Even I'm pretty sure. I'm very, very sure. because when I became an affiliate, the first thing they show you when you apply for a affiliate status is to tell you that you have agreed to this agreement, to this affiliate agreement. Even I think the first page of the onboarding or whatever they call it, tell you to read it, give you read it, and then there's a button for you to click that you have agreed to this agreement, agreed to the terms and conditions of this agreement. So there's no way absolutely that you can say that you have not read this. It's just you consciously, very consciously, just click on the accept button, agree button. So I don't know how people can say they have not read this, but then again, a lot of people have not read this, and that is troubling. This is troubling. How do you say troubling news? It's like, man, you want to do this, you want to do streaming, you want to do content creation, you wanted to make some sort of an income out of it, yet you're so ignorant. It's either ignorant or irresponsible, or it's either the two. Ignorant, I can understand, because a lot of people think that contracts are very difficult to understand, very hard to read through, because they have absolutely no experience in reading a legal document. That I understand. If you have absolutely no idea how to, have no opportunity, no chance to find people to teach you, right? To explain the things to you, you find it very, very obnoxious to read through it. But then again, I will only accept that explanation if you're a minor. Really, if you're a minor, that was expected, because you're not expected to read this. Your legal guardian, your parents or anyone that is taking care of you, since you're a minor, must be representing you to accept all these terms and conditions, because a minor can't be, a lot of things like can't be contracted to, and because minors are not legally binding. Minors cannot legally contract with anyone because of laws and such. And yes, I was explaining. But if you're an adult, if you're 18 years and above, where you're legally allowed to be contracting with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Yeah, most people don't understand the importance of TOS. Not just TOS, any document. I'm sure, Isaac, you're working, right? You're 20, 35, 20 something, same age as Riker. You're working, so you have at least one contract that you have signed, which is your employment contract. So you can't say you've have no experience with contracts. And if you have not read your contracts, employment contract, bruh, read it clearly. Or if you're worried about your employment contract having some sus terms, if you have someone to trust to read it through for you, do it. It doesn't have to be someone like me, or it doesn't have to be a lawyer or a legal expert to help you read through a legal document. A third party's opinion on anything is very valuable. Trust me, from my experience, even if I'm like the best person to read through these things, and if you don't have someone like me, get someone else to read it for you. You probably miss something that someone else with maybe better working experience than you will be able to identify. Hey, this looks very sus. This doesn't look very fair. I mean, why is this clause here and such? And you realize, yeah, okay, this is not good, and this might not be a company that you want to work for long. Yep, I read it many times to understand it. So yeah, it's like And even then, I hear people saying that they have not read employment contracts, even though they are working for years and years, which is very, very surprising to me. And even more surprising is there are some people who work in an office job doesn't have a contract. They don't have a contract. Working as a clerk, working as a some sort of a associate, executive, maybe not manager, but someone who works in an office in some capacity. But yeah, there are people who work in those kind of companies, most likely small companies, that do not provide contracts, and the terms and conditions they have with each other is just through words, through verbal confirmations, and through actions. Every month they pay this amount. Okay, that's right. That's what I remember talking about it, and that's it. There's nothing to prove that what they are supposed to be being paid. Probably the only thing they have as proof is their pay slips, which is not the best thing to use to fight for your employment rights, right? And such, especially when there's no employment contract and employment terms, it means that if they are, I mean, there are laws covering this, all right? Even though if someone doesn't have employment contracts done, by law, there should be implied terms that the employer must adapt to. The thing is, most likely the employer doesn't know about the laws themselves, and even more so, the employee doesn't know about the employment rights they have themselves. So pretty much people stay in that situation. It is understandable. People could stay in that sort of a situation, circumstance for a long time, for years. For years, they would be without any contract, and when the relationships between the employer and employee sours, who's gonna not benefit? Who's gonna be at risk here? The boss, the employer, or the employee? Right? The person paying the employee, the person paying, or the person getting paid, who is gonna get in financial trouble, to say the least. Right? Very bad. And also, I had a small talk with a small chat with a VTuber yesterday, 2 days ago, when I rated Kaio Cadaver. We talked a bit about employment laws, employment stuff in terms of artists, apparently, animation companies. It seems like it is very, very bad. And I heard that someone was talking about in the chat that they were saying, I think either their friend wanted to quit the company, but instead of like giving the person the chance to serve notice to quit, or just literally let them leave, no. Apparently, when you have to quit before your so-called contractual period, of course, maybe it's either 1 year or 2 years or anything like that. Instead of giving notice, you have to pay the company for leaving. You have to pay the company for resigning. Now, does this sound fair? You have to, I believe they say a month's salary paying to the company. That's illegal, bruh. It sounds illegal, right? It sounds illegal. I'm not sure what salary amount it is, depending on if they are like they are covered under the employment rights laws or such. If they are, it would be illegal. But if let's say they are not covered under that law, it's not illegal. Take note, it's not illegal to force your employee to pay some sort of compensation for leaving early. So that's the thing. People do not know that it's a very, very unfair term when they accept this sort of a contract, when they accept this sort of a employment contract. And they think, is it really like this? Damn, it's so unfair. But I need the money, so can't do much about it. But in reality, that is super unfair. It's very, very unfair, unethical. The most unethical thing an employer can do is forcing your employee to pay you for leaving the company. I mean, there are reasons why the employer does it, but it doesn't mean it's right. All right, maybe because they are short staffed, and one way to make sure employees don't just suddenly leave out of the blue is make this sort of a very unfair term, right? Either they will really actually enforce this term, or they just putting this term to scare people. Because actually taking this trying to enforce these terms is not easy. Takes time, takes some money. So the entire effort would be quite redundant if doing all those things, and at the end it still costs you more than you are supposed to be paid. So yeah, it would be pointless. Yeah, hello, this is worse than what I read in our entire work. I don't know. A lot of anti-work subreddit there's a lot of ridiculous situation. I'm not saying they aren't ridiculous, but yeah, all these stories that I've heard, I myself, I would say definitely I'm a victim of a abusive employee as well. And there's suffice to say, I've lived to tell the tale, so to speak. I managed to survive through almost getting into an actual court case fighting against my employer, but it worked out. At the end, there was a settlement, so I will not be haunted by that anymore. So I would say I was one of those lucky/unlucky persons to be able to experience this sort of a situation. One of my worst time of my life. For almost a period of 6 to 9 months. I have to worry about this thing, which is just like hovering above my head. These legal disputes are not fun. Especially for people who not like me, like us all, who are not wealthy. We do not have the time. We do not have the money to do all these things. It just so happens that I have relatives, friends that can help me in trying to fight my own case, and I'm able to pull through it without any sort of long-lasting traumatic event happening. I've recovered mostly, but the benefit of it is I learned a lot of employment rights stuff. I read cases, I read laws, in terms of Malaysian laws, of course, like the Employment Act, Industrial Act, Industrial Relations Act, and all those cases. I even went to labor departments. So I'm pretty certain that I can at least help people in need if they are like in my situation. So yeah, I guess it's in a way it benefited me very well at the end. So there's that, right? So all said and done, my point is to say that contracts are not something to be ignored or to be taken lightly, really. When especially if you're looking to marry people, you're looking to get into a relationship, officially, legally marrying someone involves laws. Divorce is not fun. Although I've never experienced it, I've seen people when I was when I was doing voluntary how to say, what's it called, right? Voluntary advice, voluntary work. Yeah, some sort of voluntary work for my local lawyer bar community. There is a service that we provide. Is basically we get all these people who are really, really poor that can't afford any type of legal aid for them. We've set up this sort of a place where we get these people, take down whatever they have to say, and then get them assigned to a volunteer lawyer who will help them fight these cases or help them do the processes of divorce. And I don't know. I didn't personally listen to their stories, but I have I have a couple of how do you say, at that time, chambermaids, sort of. We're not exactly colleagues. They were the ones who listened to them. And every time they listen to them, I think they cry. They cried listening to their stories, because a lot of it is people who came to get advice to divorce have suffered some sort of abuse, domestic abuse, where it is not how do you say, it is not happy to say the least. It's a lot of things that we think that, oh, our country is doing well. We're supposed to be not going to the side of being bankruptcy. We're at least surviving all as such economically. But there's so many people in our lives that we do not really know about how they live through, right? There's so many people who have no access to all these basic connections at all. Even I think these people were lucky to know that there are places like this where we provide some sort of free consultations, free legal aid for these people. I would say those are the lucky ones. The ones that are unlucky are the ones that have absolutely no chance or did not know they could get any of this help. So yeah, it's really bad. Then it's why I kind of, after working for 5 years, practicing for 5 years, it started to drain me, as in, man, whatever I'm doing, I ain't helping these people. I'm just helping the ones that already can afford legal help or legal help them do the legal filings or such. So yeah, one major part of it is it's really mentally exhausting for me. For some of my principles, I guess, my beliefs in terms of how I should approach life is, one, I want to be able to do things I want, and two is I want to be able to help people while I'm doing the things I want. Technically, practicing law is something I want, in a sense, at the beginning, until it felt really, really just like any job that you do. Then it became so much like a job, it felt like I was not a lawyer. I was just simply someone who is very good at doing legal processes for helping people buy and sell properties. That's pretty much how I felt. And most of the time, the people I do help are wealthy people, so to speak. Wealthy people and people who are part of the industry, right? To be able to get through, to be able to survive as a lawyer, these are the people you have to help with. You can't really give any help to the ones that can't afford it. unfortunately. But yeah. Long rant. Long rant. Supposed to end it earlier, but I hope anyone, really, it's more or less what I'm doing, even though it feels like I'm shouting through the air. At least someone's here listening. At least I'm putting something out of the society, rather than keeping all this knowledge to myself and only applying it to people who have access to it already. So yeah, that's why I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy that I'm very glad that people ask questions to me. When they ask legal questions, I find it very, how do you say, fulfilling, I guess, a fulfilling experience, rather than getting paid for it. I mean, getting paid is nice, but I would say really helping people is much better for me. So, I mean, because of I have that mindset, I'm not even sure how long I'll be able to do this. I'm trying the best to make a living out of this, but yeah, we'll see. I have hopes. All right, I have hopes I'll be able to do this for a long time. I'll eventually grow larger and able to help more people. Right, help more people. Anyhow, enough of me. Enough about me. Let's end the stream. All right. Since I don't think there's any questions. Yep, no questions. So thank you so much, anyone that's watching. Hope you enjoyed this stream. I'll be probably uploading. I haven't uploaded the last week's live seminar. I'll be doing that actually right now. I'll do it right now before I forget. But yes, as always, whenever I end my streams, I will be rating someone. Okay. Well, yeah, last week we were talking about Streamloots. Oh man. Streamloots terms of service. Man, it sucks. Anyhow, let's look at who we can rate. Rika is playing Overwatch. Man, does she not need to sleep? I might play with her. Should I play with her? Should I play her end the stream or play with her? Oh yeah, what happened to the Streamloot tweet? I tweeted it. Did I save the tweet? Did I bookmark my tweet? Apparently I did not book my tweet. But Flavor, I mean, did they reply? Oh no, they probably don't reply. I guess it's not a popular opinion because I don't think a lot of people retweeted about that thing. But yeah, either way, even my social circle, my mutuals, my community have no idea about Streamloots, so better leave it that way. Better to leave it that way. Play with her? Yeah, sure, I guess I can play. I have time. But let's see if she wants. Is she still playing? Four hours 30 minutes. I think she will be She will be streaming maybe for some time, but I'll wait for a confirmation, right? I'll wait for a confirmation if she wants to play with me. Man, this is weird. This is weird. It is always weird. It's like I'm hijacking someone's else's streams or something. But yeah, I guess you can consider this a cooldown period. Cooldown period for me. So yeah.